welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to all the people who have subscribed this week. That made me really happy. So we're improving already. I have got a new light here to light me up so you can actually see me as I'm sitting here on the couch, not in my pajamas this week. I am actually wearing a real top, but I'm not wearing any pants. You won't see that, so don't worry unless you pay. So I want to talk to you today about visualization. So visualization is something that is spoken about a lot in the manifestation world. There's a lot of emphasis put on visualization and it being a really, really essential part of you bringing your manifestation in. However, like many others, this is just a technique. Visualization is a technique to get you to believe that it's already done. So it's actually not essential. If you can get to the point where you believe that your manifestation is done without visualization, that's fine. So I wanted to make this video because if you are like me, you might be a little bit concerned about the fact that there's so much emphasis put on visualization in the manifestation world, because you might not be very good at it. I'm not very good at visualization, I never have been. You can definitely improve your visualization skills, and I'll talk about how you can do that. But some of us are naturally really, really good at bringing a clear picture in our mind's eye, whereas other people are not, and that's okay. It's okay, it's fine, don't worry. So if you're like me and that is not a strength that you naturally have, you can do two things. You could choose another technique altogether and bag off visualization, or you can choose to improve your visualization technique and build it like a muscle so that you can use it as a technique. There are lots of ways that you can get better at visualizing, and I'm going to share a few ways that I improved my ability to visualize. The first one is a point of focus. So you can do this by drawing a tiny little dot on your wall. If you've ever been to yoga, you'll have probably heard of a drishti point. I think it's a drishti point. Is it a drishti? Drishti. I feel like that word sounds weird now. Drishti point. Yeah, it is. So you put a little dot on your wall, and if you don't want to put a dot on your wall because you've got faro and ball paint, that's fine. You can just pick something super small that's on its own and plain. Maybe you could put like a crystal on the carpet or something like that, a little crystal. So you then practice just keeping your attention, your focused attention on that little dot or on that object, that small object. And what you'll find is that your attention drifts away. It starts drifting away. But if you can do that and you can start to focus it for longer and longer periods of time, that is a way that you can improve your ability to build that mental picture without getting distracted and making it clearer and clearer and more refined. So that's one way that you can do it. But here are the ones that I use. First thing that I always recommend if you're trying to improve at visualization is script it out. A lot of us can write out something much better and in much more detail than we can from just closing our eyes and trying to build a picture from nothing. That's really hard to do, or at least it is hard for me to do. So script out your vision in vivid detail, okay? Once you've got that, read it back to yourself, or even better, voice record yourself reading that back to yourself and listen to it while you're visualizing. That will 10x the clarity of that visualization that you're having, because you've already built it before you even go into it. So we'll practice that now. So I want you to close your eyes for a second and I want you to imagine a cat, because you know I love cats. So imagine a cat, and now I want you to imagine a cat with black fur, and now I want you to imagine a cat with black fur and a super long tail, like 3 times longer than its body. And now I want you to imagine that the cat with black fur and the super long tail is curled up and it's asleep. And now I want you to imagine that it's curled up and it's asleep on a lime green rug in the middle of a wooden floor. and I want you to imagine that it's snoring, and I want you to imagine that you can see a tin of tuna at the side of it, and maybe you can smell the tuna. So what we're doing there is you're adding in more and more description, and what should have happened then is you started to build a clearer and clearer picture in your mind. So by scripting it out first, you can build that picture before you even go into it. So that is one way to rapidly and massively improve the clarity of your visualization. The other way, this has given me the idea for the video today because I was doing it today, is to use visualization in everyday life. Like, you don't have to just restrict your visualizations to when you are sat with your eyes closed, like in your room. You don't need to just do it then. You can be visualizing all the time. So for example, as I'm recording this, I could be visualizing that I'm doing a live stream to 5,000 people. Or you could be visualizing that you are driving your new car as you were driving your old one. You could be visualizing hanging out of the window and looking at people nodding to you and sort of letting on at how lovely your car is. You can visualize yourself pulling it onto your driveway or your car park. You can use things that are familiar to help you build clarity in your vision and do it in your day-to-day activities, so you're not even having to spend any extra time doing it. So while you're washing up, you can be visualizing then, or you can even incorporate it into what you're doing. So for example, I'll show the one that I did today. So a part of my vision is that I'll be really well known for what I do. So not everybody, some people will think, she wants to be more. Yes, I fucking do want to be well known. Okay, so that's that bitch. Anyway, so when you are well known, the nature of that is that people recognise you. Now, I don't want to be like Justin Bieber. Let's not get it twisted. But I would really like to be recognised for the impact that I have. And the way that I would know that that's happening is if people were coming up to me and saying, oh, are you Sophie Waddington? I watch your YouTube videos, or I listen to your podcast. Can we have a picture together? Blah, 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 blah. Right? So as I'm walking into the Trafford Centre, which is a shopping centre near me, and I go all the time, so it's very familiar to me. I go probably once every week or a couple of weeks. So as I'm walking in, I visualise people coming over and going, and doing all those things that are a part of my vision. So I'm actually in the vision. I'm not having to build any picture in my mind. I'm not having to construct the room that I'm in and all of that stuff in my head. I'm already there. It's like you're in one of those VR games, and all I'm doing is adding bits in with my imagination. So I'm just thinking, oh, imagine if this person came over and said that. I can even pick a person who is there in the shopping centre and think that person's going to come over to me and they're going to say this. I can imagine that person saying it. Does that make sense? I hope so. So you can imagine in any scenario. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Like, say you were in the gym, say that you've got a goal where you want to lift a certain amount of weight. Well, while you're lifting the weight that you can lift now, you can be imagining that the little stick thing that you whack into the weights is on a higher number. As you can tell, I don't lift weights very often. So what other ones could you do? When you are walking into your house, as you're putting the key in the door and you're feeling the handle of the door, imagine opening it up and seeing the hallway that you want in front of you. So visualize in everyday activities. It doesn't have to be restricted to closing your eyes and building the whole picture. You can actually use your environments that you're already in to help you bring that to life more. So if you're going to I don't know, let's say you're on a boat trip, like you're on holiday and you've booked a boat trip. So you go on this boat trip. Well, if you want to own a yacht and you want to imagine that all your friends and family are on this yacht, or even that you rent yachts and you go out and have like boat parties, you can bring that to life. You can adjust the things that you can see around you to improve that visualization. So for example, you could get rid of the strangers in your imagination, you could be drinking champagne instead of a beer. All of these things are easy little tweaks that you can make to what you've actually got in front of you. And when you do this and you bring things in that are familiar, not only does it make it much more easy to visualize, but also it makes it much more safe to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind wants to be safe, and that is what allows your manifestation to come in, is when it feels safe. So by incorporating in things that it's already familiar with, that are totally normal to you, the friends and family that are around you, the street that you drive down every day, things like that, the shopping centre that you go to, you can allow it to feel safer. You can trick it into feeling safer, and that's always a good thing, because the safer it feels, the easier it will allow that manifestation to come in. So those are my main tips. Now, the only other one that I will share with you, because this is something I do as well, I do also do visualizations now, like as in when I'm lying in bed or when I'm sat on the couch. Like, I don't always just do them in everyday life. I also sit down and visualize specific parts, and they tend to be things like you know, well, for example, I've got a visualization for, it's not somewhere I want to live right now either, it's somewhere a little bit further out in the future, but at some point I would love to be living in a very, very specific house that's got a very specific balcony, that's got a very specific view, and I've never been there. So I've patchwork quilted it together out of pictures that I've seen on Pinterest and videos that I've seen online, and all of these different little bits, and I've built that picture by scripting it out, and then I'll sit and visualize that, because obviously I can't go to that balcony right now because I don't even know where it is apart from in my imagination. So for that, I find, and I have no idea why, and this might not work for you, but you could try it, I can get much clearer visualizations, as in like the ones where you're building the picture in your mind, when my eyes are open. I haven't got a fucking clue why. I don't know why. Most people prefer to have their eyes closed, I know that. But I think I read it somewhere. I think it might have been in, I've got all my books there, it might have been in Shakti Gawain's book called Creative Visualization, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know, I might have made that up. But at some point it occurred to me that I could visualize with my eyes open, even if it was like in the dark. I don't know why this works for me, but it's so much clearer when my eyes are open. So I bought an eye mask, but it was a particular type of eye mask that has like dints in it, and I think the purpose of it is actually for people who've got eyelash extensions. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, if you've got eyelash extensions, you don't want them to get squished when you sleep. So I believe some people wear these eye masks, and I ordered one so I can put the eye mask on and I can listen to the voice note of my scripted visualization about this house with the balcony on, or whatever it is, any kind of scenario that I can't sort of get in the middle of, you know, one that's not really familiar to me. And I can open my eyes with this eye mask on, and for some reason that really works for me. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you a few things around visualization that I find useful. So doing it in everyday life, in your everyday scenarios, just adjusting what you see around you to suit your vision, like the one in the Trafford Centre where people come over and say hello to me or whatever it is. The one where you're on a boat trip and it's just you and your family because you're adjusting it to take all the strangers out and you're replacing the beer with the champagne. So using your actual 3D circumstances and adjusting them, that's a good one. Scripting, mega important for me. Scripting your vision out and getting it clearer and clearer, like that cat example, adding more detail in, using your 5 senses, really helpful. And using an eye mask with little dints in it that you can get for eyelashes and opening your eyes while you visualise. So I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments and I'll speak to you soon. See you later.